Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. Let read together. Have fun. This is an art collage novel video. I made this series so you guys can experience the story faster. The video will focus on the character's psychology, the images are for illustration purposes only. This is especially true about Mr. First and Mr. Second's battle. Duan Xing exclaimed. Upon hearing this, Ming Shiyin's interest was piqued. He knew more about Yu Shanghai and Yu Shangrong than anyone here. He knew their cultivation bases were terrifyingly profound. How could he not be curious about their fight? He asked, just how great was it? Come on, tell us. Duan Xing had been itching to share what he saw with someone throughout the 2 days he had spent in the Evil Sky Pavilion. He could barely hold it in. He walked up to Ming Shiyin immediately and began to recount what happened. Mr. Fourth. Do you know the 100 Leaves Lake? It's the lake near Radiant Cloud Forest, it covers 1,000 miles. Mr. First and Mr. Second began fighting near 100 Leaves Lake. That isn't something that can be done by humans. Mr. First split 100 Leaves Lake in half with a single swing of his saber. The others were stunned. Duan Xing gave an animated account of the battle. He would exaggerate some details, slide in a 1,000 miles area, or 10,000 feet high every now and then. It was confusing to listen to him. However, Ming Shiyin was intrigued. He nodded frequently as though he had made some great discovery. He would interject with a really, or that's awesome, at intervals. Just like that, both of them had a lengthy conversation. When they reached the climax of the story, their voices grew louder as well. At the climax of the battle, Mr. Second unleashed his enter and returned 3 souls. What do you think happened? What happened? Don't leave me hanging. Spill it. Ming Shiyin urged. The heavens and earth darkened. Even the clouds and the winds changed colors. I found it difficult to breathe back then, and I was standing more than 10 miles away. I have a 4-leaf golden lotus, and I couldn't even stand it. Duan Xing said solemnly. Radiant Cloud Forest is surrounded by towering trees, and you were standing 10 miles away? How did you manage to see anything? Ming Shiyin scratched his head. That's not important. The point is, guess how Mr. First dealt with the Enter 3 souls? Duan Xing asked solemnly. Ming Shiyin asked, affected by Duan Xing's enthusiasm, eldest senior brother used his Great Dark Heaven Memorial? You're right, Mr. Fourth. Indeed, it's the Great Dark Heaven Memorial. Mr. First unleashed sovereign descent, then, the primal chi in the surroundings raged and the mountains and rivers were destroyed. Duan Xing paused for a moment before he continued to say, when the old senior made his grand entrance, he negated the sovereign descent and the enter and returned 3 souls with each wave of his sword. Ming Shiyin gulped. Alas, Mr. First was taken away by the 4 great protectors in their flying chariot. The old senior only managed to capture Mr. Second. Ming Shiyin seemed to be in a daze as he said, Master was preoccupied with killing Emily's 10 great generals in the obedient villa that day. If it weren't for that incident, eldest senior brother wouldn't have been able to escape. Duan Xing nodded in agreement. Indeed, I was there as well. It was truly. Hold up. I witnessed that with my own eyes, so there's no need for you to spew drive, Ming Shiyin interjected. Duan Xing scratched his head. He wondered, who's spewing drivel? If I were spewing drivel, then, who has been listening intently? Ming Shiyin turned to look at Jiang Aijian and said, let's meet Master later. I'd like to head over to the Cave of Reflection for a minute. 4th senior brother, I want to go as well, little Yuan. Chimed in. Stay here. There's no place for a woman in the grudge between men. Ming Shiyin left with his hands on his back. They looked at Ming Shiyin's retreating back as he made his way to the Cave of Reflection. Duan Xing cupped his fists and said, Mr. Fourth sure is a person who draws a clear line between the things he likes and dislikes. He's the kind of person I've always respected. The others glanced at him as they thought to themselves, are you sure that you're not merely trying to flatter him? Little Yuan. However, disagreed. I'm afraid fourth senior brother will be at a disadvantage this time. With second senior brother's cultivation base, he can take on 10 fourth senior brothers, no, 20, 100, she counted with her finger. Duan Xing said with a smile, that's not entirely correct, Miss Ninth. Mr. Second's cultivation base has been sealed by your master, Duan Xing replied. The others looked in the direction of the cave of reflection. Ming Shirin racked his brains for insults that he could hurl against the traitor as he walked to the cave of reflection. Perhaps, it was due to the unique rhythm of Ming Shirin's footsteps, before he even entered the cave of reflection, he heard Yu Shangrong's gentle voice. Fourth junior brother, you're here. Ming Shirin was slightly stunned. He can tell? Eldest senior brother's footsteps are heavy and steady. Third junior brother's footsteps are irregularly paced. Your footsteps, fourth junior brother, are light with a sense of urgency. Yu Shangrong carried his longevity sword in his arms and walked out of the cave of reflection as though there was no barrier. He looked at Ming Shirin with a genial smile. Ming Shirin smiled and said, second senior brother, I came right away when I heard that you're back. I'm here to offer you my greetings. There's no need for such courtesies among fellow disciples, Yu Shangrong said lightly. Second senior brother, I heard from Duan Xing that you fought with eldest senior brother? That's right, Yu Shangrong calmly replied. Who won? Duan Xing had embellished so much that Ming Shirin did not know what was true. Yu Shangrong smiled faintly. I won. I knew that your sword skills are amazing, second senior brother. Ming Shirin said. No, Yu Shangrong shook his head. Huh? Initially, I thought that my sword path was peerless, and master is the only person who can best me. Alas, that isn't so, Yu Shangrong said slowly, I've reflected on it for a long time inside the cave of reflection, and I know now that that's not all there is to the sword path. In the end, I still have a long way to go. Ming Shirin was puzzled. If you have a long way to go, who else under the heavens don't? Then, he said, it's for the best that you've returned, second senior brother. Don't oppose master all the time. He has changed a lot and isn't as short-tempered as before. Yu Shangrong knew this from all the information he had gathered. He seemed to have something else on his mind as he suddenly asked, fourth junior brother, what kind of person do you think I am? Ming Shirin regarded his second senior brother with a puzzled expression. He wondered where the sudden question came from. Nevertheless, he replied, you're humble and polite, second senior brother. Everyone can see that. Do you even have to ask? Also, you've always acted with a sense of propriety. You're a gentleman, through and through. He gave a thumbs up as he continued to say, I say all this from the bottom of my heart. Yu Shangrong frowned slightly. The final sentence sounded familiar. Tell me, then. Is master at the nine-leaf stage right now? Yu Shangrong asked. Nine-leaf? Ming Shirin was momentarily stunned by the question. When he regained his senses, he said with a smile. Second senior brother, you must be making fun of me. There's no such thing as the nine-leaf stage. When Yu Shangrong saw that Ming Shirin did not seem to be lying, he fell deep into thought. At this moment, a female disciple appeared and said with a bow, Mr. Fourth, the pavilion master awaits. Master's waiting? Ming Shirin waved his hand, cleared his throat, and straightened his back. I'll head over right away. Then, he turned to look at Yu Shangrong. Before Ming Shirin could say anything, Yu Shangrong said, go on. Second senior brother, please have a good rest. Call me if you need anything. Ming Shirin left the cave of reflection. He went to the Great Hall. He found Jiang Aijian, Zhao Yu, Little Yuan. And Duan Xing waiting there. Little Yuan. Was the first to walk up to him and asked, fourth senior brother, how's second senior brother doing? Ming Shirin straightened his back, placed his hands on his back, and said, not too well. Perhaps, he's not happy being captured by master. However, he doesn't have anything to complain about. As the Evil Sky Pavilion's traitor, he must adhere to the rules. I've given him a good talking to. I believe that he'll behave himself after this. A voice rang from the great hall at this moment. Come in. They went into the great hall in an orderly manner. Greetings, old senior. Greetings, master. Greetings, pavilion master. Lu Zhou sat regally on his chair and looked at their faces. He saw the ingratiating expression on Jiang Aijian's face and asked, Jiang Aijian, what are you doing in the evil sky pavilion instead of staying put in Runan and Rubii? Jiang Aijian chuckled and said, I've missed you, old senior. I've brought you some goodies. He slid the sack off his back and placed its contents on the table as he continued to say, these are high-grade tea leaves presented to the empire as tributes before this. Many people of power and position don't even have the opportunity to taste them. They're for you, old senior. One who is unaccountably solicitous is hiding evil intentions, Lu Zhou said wryly. I would never. Jiang Aijian waved his hands. In terms of relationship, your fifth disciple is my younger sister. I'm a relative of the evil sky pavilion. I don't think it's strange for relatives to give each other gifts. The others were speechless. Zhao Yu sighed and softly said, I guess nobody can surpass him in terms of shamelessness. The others nodded as their eyes instinctively shifted to Ming Shirin. Ming Shirin was aggrieved. He wondered to himself, why is everyone looking at me? I didn't say or do anything. This has nothing to do with me. Lu Zhou looked at the items on the table. He did not seem to be interested. At his age, material possessions no longer excited him. So, why did you come? Well, I accidentally stabbed the second prince to death. The imperial family won't forgive me for this. So, can I trouble you, old senior, with the burden of killing me? Jiang Aijian asked. Ming Shirin grinned and said excitedly, I can do that. His separation hook that glowed with a nefarious light and energy materialized in his hands. Zhao Yu's eyes twinkled with envy. Jiang Aijian speechless. Then, he said, I don't mean it literally. Great Yan's imperial family is searching for me all over the empire right now. I've already cut ties with my comrades, and we're no longer in contact. There's no place for me to go. After thinking about it for a long time, I feel that the evil sky pavilion's the safest. So, you want to stay here for a period of time? Lu Zhou asked. You're intelligent, old senior. Lu Zhou stroked his beard and nodded. You're my source of information. Naturally, I will help. You. Jiang Aijian was greatly moved by this. He bowed and cupped his fists. Thank you, old senior. Lu Zhou looked at him grinning. He frowned and said, so, aren't you going to say anything? About what? Jiang Aijian was puzzled. You're the third prince, and you killed the second prince. The crime of killing one's brother is spat upon, no matter where you go. The others nodded. Their master had a good point. Throughout their journey here, Jiang Aijian had been smiling and grinning as though nothing had happened. An ordinary person would not react that way. Not only was the person he killed Great Yan's second prince, but it was his elder brother. When Jiang Aijian saw Lu Zhou's serious and stern expression, the smile on his own face gradually vanished. He sighed softly. The dead are dead. There's nothing I have to say. So? It's true that Lu Huan was the one who burned down Jinghe Palace? Lu Zhou asked. You know about that? The Prince of Qi, Qin Jun, is on my side, Lu Zhou replied. Very well. I've almost forgotten about him. Jiang Aijian nodded. He turned to look at Zhao Yu and Ming Shirin and said, wronged soul cries in lonely moonlit city. There's a natural cycle in the world. Anyone who commits sin shall be dealt with by another. Truth be told, many have tried to persuade me to let go of my grudge and the past, to never bother myself with the imperial family, and stay away from the court. How good will it be to live a free life as the sword freak? However, every time I fall asleep, I will remember the flames, how fiery red they were as they seared my eyes. I couldn't sleep. Whenever night falls, I can hear their cries for help and their wails of pain, and yet, I remain powerless. The others looked at Jiang Aijian. Lu Zhou looked at him as well. Jiang Aijian said with a sigh, in the end, I took it all upon myself. Oh, how lucky I am to have met all of you. If you're moved by my story, please be nicer to me. I'll be plenty grateful. The earlier parts of his tale sounded genuine, but as his story went on, it felt fake. Zhao Yu rolled her eyes at him and no longer bothered with him. She stepped forward, bowed at Lu Zhou, and said, Master, I have another matter to report. Speak. The Empress Dowager, my grandmother, has a frail constitution. The incident at Obedient Villa has taken quite a toll on her. She's been bedridden ever since. Zhao fell to her knees. Please forgive me for spending so much time in the divine capital before returning. Lu Zhou waved his hand and said, It's good to have filial piety. Thank you, Master. Zhao Yu turned and shot Jiang Aijian a meaningful look. Jiang Aijian scratched his head awkwardly. He said shamelessly, Old senior, to tell you the truth, the Empress Dowager is in a critical condition. I'm afraid that she won't survive the winter. Lu Zhou understood now. He said, there are many elites inside the palace, and the imperial physicians are all highly skilled. You're dreaming if you want me to intervene. Zhao Yu said, Master, it's witchcraft. Witchcraft. This surprised Lu Zhou. He recalled the events at Obedient Villa. There was no grand witchcraft formation there, nor were there any witchcraft traps. How did the Empress Dowager get afflicted by witchcraft? Jiang Aijian said, it was done by Ba Ma, the genius shaman from Lulan. Ba Ma? Lu Zhou had no recollection of this name. Allow me to explain in detail, senior. Firstly, this Ba Ma is Mo Li's senior brother. He's from Lulan. Secondly, you fought against Ba Ma once. On the Lotus Dais, you injured his mount, Ba Wu, heavily. Thirdly, during the battle in Obedient Villa, Ba Ma had been lying in wait outside. Ba Ma has opposed you several times. When Mo Li died, his grudge deepened, and he took it on the Empress Dowager by casting a spell on her. He'll surely act against the evil Sky Pavilion sooner or later. Lu Zhou stroked his beard and considered this. Jiang Aijian said again, Old senior, I won't ask for a favor from you without proper compensation. I'll help you capture the evil Sky Pavilion's traitor, your seventh disciple, Si Wuya. Lu Zhou looked at Jiang Aijian. He said skeptically, You're confident about capturing Si Wuya? Nope, Jiang Aijian replied with a straight face. The others were rendered speechless. If you're not confident, why would you even say it in the first place? Lu Zhou stroked his beard and stood up. He looked at Zhao Yu and Jiang Aijian and said, Since you have a favor to ask of me, you should have been the one to come to me. Disregarding one's standing in the situation and maintaining a slightly arrogant attitude while asking for a favor. This was not how things were done. When Jiang Aijian heard this, he was overjoyed. He bowed at once and said, That's only natural. With these words of yours, old senior, I can rest assured. Zhao Yu chimed in, Thank you, master. At this moment, a voice rang from outside. Greetings, master. The others turned to look. Zhu Honggong fell to his knees at the door. Then, he shuffled into the hall. He bowed and kowtowed continuously as he entered the hall. Greetings, master. Ming Shirin covered his eyes with his right hand. Oh, all right. You win. Zhu Honggong stood up, kowtowed, and fell to his knees again. He said loudly, Greetings, master.